closest genetic race. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Armenian News Network, the latest news about Armenia and Armenians all over the world in English. As you understand from the title, today we'll talk about Armenians' closest genetic race. Have you ever wondered, whom are we as a nation like the most? Armenians are close to Italians, Lebanese, and Georgians. Actually, Armenians and Georgians are ethnic groups that live beside each other in the South Caucasus or Transcaucasia. Apparently, they've both been there since prehistoric times and they're very similar in terms of overall genetic structure. At the most basic level, the results suggest that both Armenians and Georgians are overwhelmingly derived from the populations of Bronze Age Transcaucasia associated with Kura-Araxes archaeological culture, albeit with minor ancestries from somewhat different sources from the West. The study also shows that modern Armenians have the lowest genetic distance between the ancient individuals in this dataset, followed closely by Georgians, compared to other populations such as Turks, Persians, and Azerbaijanis. The relationship between Armenia and Georgia. Both countries' governments have generally positive relations, but there have also been some problems. The Javakheti region in southern Georgia contains a large Armenian population, although there have been local civic organizations such as United Javak pushing for autonomy. There has been no violence between Armenians and Georgians in the area since the Georgian-Armenian War ended in 1919. Today, despite some factors that push the two nations in opposite directions, their relations are good. Besides cultural proximity and long-going tradition of ties and exchanges, it is also political pragmatism and long-term geopolitical considerations that bring on friendly partnership despite external forces driving countries apart. While geopolitical pressures divide countries in different directions, both societies are essentially oriented towards the European cultural and democratic traditions, and their paths will eventually converge. There are numerous civil society and political groups in both countries promoting pro-European and pro-democracy agenda, often supported by Western foundations, in particular groups populated by westernized and educated youth. How do Armenians and Georgians perceive each other? In general, there are three ways Armenians and Georgians look at each other. Neutrality. Relations between the countries are normal. Historically, there were bumps on the road, but now it's time to move on and look to the future. With suspicion. This one is common among nationalists. With humor. Georgians simply love jokes involving Armenians and routinely tease them. There has always been this Caucasian rivalry between the two. Constant attempts to out-joke and outperform the other. Now, let's see what countries have a similarity to Armenia as a country. Moldova. The countries have a similar standard of living. Military service is mandatory in Moldova and Armenian. Both speak Indo-European languages, although Romanian is far different from Armenia. Moldova is also mostly flat land and has a much higher percentage of agricultural land than Armenia. Still, both countries are landlocked and have a similar population density. North Macedonia is to the south of Serbia. Both countries have militaries that are Russian-made battle tanks. Like Armenia, it is also relatively poor. In addition, it is another mountainous and landlocked country. Serbia is the most similar country that was not a part of the Soviet Union, although it was a part of the Eastern Bloc. Like Armenia and North Macedonia, it is also landlocked, although it is less mountainous. Serbia and Armenia both receive military aid from Russia and have Russian-made battle tanks. Both have historically had struggles with their Muslim neighbors. On the other hand, we can determine some countries that are least similar to Armenia. Papua New Guinea. It is one of the hottest and wettest countries in the world, in contrast to Armenia's drier and more temperate climate. The country's standard of living is lower than Armenia, however both countries are quite mountainous. Solomon Islands is a tropical archipelago in the Pacific Ocean, in contrast to Armenia's colder climate and landlocked geography. In addition, its infrastructure is quite different. The country drives on the left and uses Type 1 electrical outlets. Still, both countries are predominantly Christian. The The Democratic Republic of Congo is a densely forested country in the middle of Africa. Its standard of living is lower than Armenia, and infrastructure is far less developed. Although both countries are mostly Christian, Armenians are part of the unique Oriental Orthodox denomination. We have come to the end of today's video. If you like what you saw and want to see more, hit like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.